College life is a unique blend of freedom, stress, and self-discovery. For many young adults, it's the first time they're living away from home, navigating shared spaces, and forming deep connections with peers who are experiencing the same transformative period. This is especially true in dormitories, where privacy is limited, personal boundaries are constantly negotiated, and unexpected moments can lead to profound changes in relationships. Our story takes place in one such dormitory, where two roommates, Alex and Ryan, are about to discover how something as simple as a clean towel can become the catalyst for revealing feelings that have been simmering beneath the surface of their friendship. Westlake Hall was like most college dormitories, a maze of narrow hallways, communal bathrooms, and small rooms designed to house two students who were essentially strangers thrown together by random housing assignments. The walls were thin enough that conversations, music, and occasional arguments filtered through, creating an atmosphere where privacy was more of a concept than a reality. The building itself was older, with pipes that groaned in the winter and windows that never seemed to open quite right during the sweltering days of early fall and late spring. Alex had been assigned to room 312 at the beginning of sophomore year. He was a meticulous person by nature, organized, clean, and particular about his space. His side of the room was always impeccably maintained, with books arranged by subject on his desk, clothes neatly folded in drawers, and bed made each morning with hospital corners that would have made his military grandfather proud. This tendency toward order wasn't just about aesthetics. For Alex, having control over his environment helped him manage the stress of his challenging engineering curriculum. Ryan, on the other hand, had entered Alex's life like a whirlwind. When housing assignments were announced, Alex had immediately looked up his new roommate on social media, finding a profile full of photos showing Ryan at parties, on hiking trips, and surrounded by friends. Ryan was studying film, with a minor in creative writing, and his creative nature was reflected in his approach to life, spontaneous, somewhat chaotic, but undeniably charming. Their first meeting had confirmed Alex's initial impressions. Ryan had arrived with boxes haphazardly packed, clothes spilling out, and an easy smile that somehow made his disorganization seem endearing rather than annoying. "Hey, roomie," he'd greeted Alex with a warmth that was impossible to resist. "Fair warning, I'm a disaster, but I promise I'm working on it." Over the months that followed, an unlikely friendship had formed between them. Despite their differences, or perhaps because of them, they found a balance. Ryan pulled Alex out of his shell, convincing him to attend campus events and introducing him to a wider circle of friends. Alex, in turn, helped Ryan establish just enough structure to keep him from missing deadlines or losing important documents. They stayed up late talking about everything from childhood memories to future aspirations, developing the kind of bond that can only form when people share both a living space and the vulnerable years of early adulthood. But lately, something had been shifting between them. Alex found himself noticing things he hadn't before. The way Ryan's eyes crinkled at the corners when he laughed, how he ran his fingers through his dark curls when he was concentrating on a script, the casual way he'd touch Alex's shoulder when making a point in conversation. These observations left Alex feeling confused and slightly off balance, as if the solid ground of their friendship was subtly tilting beneath his feet. The day that would change everything started like any other Tuesday. Alex had woken early for his 8 a.m. thermodynamics class, leaving Ryan still buried under a mound of blankets, only his tousled hair visible. The day had been particularly grueling. A surprise quiz in calculus, a lab experiment that refused to yield the expected results, and a group project meeting that ran late into the evening. By the time Alex trudged back to the dorm, his shoulders aching from his heavy backpack and his mind foggy with equations, all he wanted was a hot shower and sleep. The dormitory bathroom was a shared space with 6 shower stalls, often busy in the mornings, but usually quieter in the evenings. Alex gathered his shower caddy, towel, and a change of clothes, only to realize with dismay that the towel in his hands was his last clean one. He made a mental note to do laundry the next day as he headed down the hall to the bathroom. The shower was exactly what he needed. The hot water washed away the stress of the day, and for 15 blissful minutes, Alex thought of nothing but the sensation of warmth seeping into his tired muscles. When he finally turned off the water and reached for his towel, he felt the day's tension beginning to dissipate. He had just wrapped the towel around his waist and was gathering his things when the bathroom door swung open. Ryan stood there, his own shower caddy in hand, hair damp and curling at the edges. It was clear he'd already showered, probably in the athletic center after his evening rock climbing session at the campus gym. "Hey," Ryan said, his eyes taking in Alex's bare-chested state with a quick glance that seemed to linger a second longer than usual. "Rough day." Alex nodded, suddenly aware of the water droplets still trailing down his chest. "The roughest. Thermodynamics is trying to kill me, I'm pretty sure of it." Ryan laughed, setting his caddy down on the counter. "Well, you survived. That's what matters." He began rummaging through his shower supplies, then looked up with a frown. "Aw, crap. I forgot my towel." Alex felt a twinge of sympathy, mixed with something else he couldn't quite identify. "That's rough. The walk back to the room is going to be cold." Ryan's eyes fell on Alex's towel, and a mischievous smile spread across his face. "Or you could share? That looks big enough for two." The suggestion hung in the air between them, seemingly innocent, yet charged with unspoken implications. Alex felt his heart rate quicken slightly. "Share a towel? How would that even work?" Ryan shrugged, the casual gesture at odds with the intensity in his eyes. "I don't know. We could take turns. Or you could dry off first, then hand it over. I'm just throwing out ideas here." There was something in Ryan's tone, a hint of playfulness mixed with challenge, that made Alex hesitate. The logical response would be to tell Ryan to just use his wet towel from earlier or to grab a paper towel as a temporary solution. But instead, Alex heard himself say, "I guess we could figure something out." The moment the words left his mouth, Alex felt a shift in the atmosphere. Ryan's eyebrows raised slightly in surprise, as if he hadn't expected Alex to agree. "Yeah? Okay, cool. You finish up first, I guess." Alex turned away, feeling suddenly self-conscious as he quickly dried his hair and upper body. The towel felt like an extension of himself, and the idea of handing it over to Ryan created a strange intimacy that made his stomach flutter. When he was mostly dry, he secured the towel around his waist again and turned back to Ryan. "Your turn, I guess," he said, trying to keep his voice casual. Ryan hesitated, then stepped closer. "Thanks, man. I appreciate it." Their fingers brushed as Ryan took the towel, and Alex felt a jolt of something electric at the contact. What followed was a moment of awkward choreography as Ryan tried to figure out how to use the towel without fully exposing himself. He ended up turning his back to Alex, dropping his shorts quickly and wrapping the towel around his waist in one fluid motion. "That wasn't so bad," Ryan said, turning back around with a grin. "Now we just have to figure out how to get back to the room without one of us giving everyone in the hallway a free show." The absurdity of the situation suddenly struck Alex, and he couldn't help but laugh. "This is ridiculous. We're like a bad sitcom episode." Ryan joined in the laughter, his eyes crinkling in that way that Alex had been noticing more and more lately. "I know, right? The one with the shared towel." Classic. Their laughter eased the tension, but it didn't eliminate the underlying current of awareness that had developed between them. Ryan looked at the towel around his waist, then back at Alex. "So what's the plan? Rock, paper, scissors for who gets to wear it back?" Alex considered their options. "Or we could just walk really close together. You take the towel, I'll put on my shorts, and we'll just make a run for it." Ryan nodded slowly. "That could work." Or, he paused, and something in his expression changed, becoming more serious. "Or we could just stay here for a bit. Talk. It feels like we haven't really talked lately." The suggestion surprised Alex. It was true that they'd both been busy with midterms and projects, their usual late-night conversations becoming less frequent. But having this conversation in the bathroom, half-dressed, seemed strange. Yet something in Ryan's expression made Alex nod. "Yeah, okay. What did you want to talk about?" Ryan leaned against the counter, his posture casual but his eyes intent. "I don't know. Anything. Everything. How about the fact that things have felt different between us lately?" The directness of the question caught Alex off guard. He'd thought he was the only one who had noticed the subtle shift in their dynamic. "Different how?" he asked, although he suspected he knew what Ryan meant. Ryan ran a hand through his damp hair, a gesture Alex had seen countless times but now seemed loaded with significance. "Come on, Alex. You're too smart to play dumb. There's been this tension, like we're both walking on eggshells sometimes. And other times, It's like we're hyper-aware of each other. Or maybe that's just me. The question hung in the air, an invitation that Alex could either accept or deflect. He took a deep breath, deciding that if Ryan was brave enough to broach the subject, he could be brave enough to engage with it. No, it's not just you. I felt it too. Relief washed over Ryan's face, followed by a vulnerability that Alex rarely saw in his usually confident roommate. Okay, good. I mean, not good that there's tension, but good that I'm not imagining things. He paused, seeming to gather his thoughts. So what do you think it is? This thing between us. Alex felt his heart pounding in his chest. They were approaching territory that could fundamentally change their friendship, for better or worse. I think maybe there are feelings involved. Feelings that go beyond friendship. The words hung in the air between them, impossible to take back. Ryan's expression was unreadable for a moment, and Alex felt a surge of panic. Had he misread the situation? But then Ryan's face softened, and he nodded slowly. Yeah, he said quietly. That's what I think too. He took a step closer to Alex, the movement deliberate. The question is, what do we do about it? Alex was acutely aware of their state of undress, of the vulnerability of the moment. I don't know. This is new territory for me. I've never, with a guy. Ryan nodded in understanding. Me neither. Not really. I mean, I've thought about it. About you, specifically. His honesty was disarming. But I value our friendship too much to mess it up by rushing into something we're not ready for. The consideration in Ryan's words touched Alex deeply. This wasn't just about physical attraction or a momentary impulse. Ryan was thinking about the larger picture, about the relationship they had built and could potentially build. I feel the same way, Alex admitted. You're important to me. Us, it's important. Ryan smiled, a genuine expression that reached his eyes. So maybe we take it slow? Figure things out as we go? No pressure, just exploration. The word exploration sent a small shiver through Alex. It sounded both exciting and terrifying. Yeah, I think I'd like that. For a moment, they simply looked at each other, acknowledging the new understanding between them. Then Ryan glanced down at the towel around his waist and chuckled. Though I have to say, as far as first dates go, sharing a towel in a communal bathroom is pretty unconventional. Alex laughed, the tension breaking. Leave it to us to do things backwards. Most people go on a date first, then end up half naked. Ryan's eyes sparkled with humor. We've never been conventional, have we? Why start now? He reached out slowly, telegraphing his movement, and took Alex's hand. The touch was simple but loaded with meaning. Is this okay? Alex nodded, surprised at how natural it felt to have Ryan's fingers intertwined with his. Yeah, it's okay. They stood like that for a moment, hand in hand in the fluorescent light of the bathroom, an unlikely place for such a significant moment. Finally, Ryan squeezed Alex's hand gently before letting go. We should probably get back to the room before someone comes in and gets an eyeful. They managed to make it back to their room without incident, taking turns with the towel and moving quickly through the mercifully empty hallway. Once inside, with the doors safely closed behind them, they both burst into laughter at the absurdity of their stealth mission. Well, that was an adventure, Ryan said, still chuckling as he pulled on a t-shirt. Alex nodded, sitting on the edge of his bed. One for the memory books, for sure. As they settled into their normal evening routines, Ryan working on a script at his desk, Alex reviewing notes for the next day's classes, there was a new awareness between them, a sense of possibility that hadn't been there before. Occasionally, their eyes would meet, and they'd share a smile that contained the secret of their new understanding. Later that night, as they were getting ready for bed, Ryan paused by Alex's desk. Hey, he said softly. No pressure, but would it be okay if I sat with you for a bit? Alex moved over on his bed, making space. Of course. Ryan sat down, leaving a respectful distance between them. I just wanted to say that I'm glad we talked. Whatever happens next, I'm glad we're being honest with each other. Alex nodded, feeling a warmth spread through his chest. Me too. And for what it's worth, I'm looking forward to figuring this out together. Ryan smiled, and in a gesture that felt both new and familiar, he reached out to take Alex's hand again. They sat like that for a while, talking about everything and nothing, their joined hands a physical manifestation of the connection that had been growing between them all along. In the days and weeks that followed, they navigated their evolving relationship with care and consideration. There were awkward moments, certainly, The first time Ryan kissed Alex goodnight, they bumped noses and dissolved into nervous laughter. There were also beautiful discoveries, like how perfectly they fit together when they eventually shared a bed, or how their different approaches to life complemented each other in ways they hadn't fully appreciated before. They faced challenges too, coming out to friends, figuring out how to define their relationship, learning each other's boundaries and preferences. But through it all, they maintained the foundation of friendship that had been there from the start, now enriched with a deeper understanding and affection. And sometimes, on lazy Sunday mornings when they were reminiscing about how it all began, Ryan would tease Alex about being stingy with his towel. "If you had just let me borrow it like a normal person, who knows how long it would have taken us to get here?" Alex would roll his eyes and retort, "If you had remembered your own towel like a responsible adult, we might never have had that conversation." But they both knew that the towel incident, as they came to call it, had simply been the catalyst for something that had been building all along. In the seemingly random assignment of roommates, they had found something rare and precious, a connection that transcended friendship, a love that had grown from the everyday moments of shared space and shared lives. And in the end, isn't that what college is really about? Not just the classes and the grades, but the people you meet, the relationships you form, and the self-discovery that happens when you least expect it, sometimes even in a dormitory bathroom, with nothing but a single clean towel between you and the person who will change your life forever. Total _char_count, 18,684.